Welcome
to Leadcast. Let's go.
Intriguing.
Without delay.
Hello and welcome to episode 355 of the Leadcast podcast. I'm your host, Nick the King Cooper. Joining me this week, Aiden Frost Rockarts.
Hi, I'm not going to be dubbed back in later now.
Maybe, we'll see. There's still hope. And Colton Blue Basket Sweat.
I'm also not going to be dubbed in later, hopefully.
Does this count as dubbing ourselves?
No.
Dubbing is like when you just go back, right?
Well, it's you put something over like a finished product, like you're dubbing over something.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I don't watch dubbed, so.
So I mean, I guess what we did doesn't really count because Leadcast is never a finished product. Hey.
Yikes. Hey, this week we don't have a lot of news, so we're gonna have a bi-weekly. We haven't done one of those in a hot minute. We got a good one. We're gonna be talking about Grasp 80 carries. We got a roundtable question, some spicy cheese pick that I feel like this is just becoming my section where I suggest things to Colton. Lots of LCS news and 3 emails. Before we get into our weeks, this episode of Leadcast is once again sponsored by GameFlip Gigs. So let's read it real quick. This episode of Leadcast is sponsored by GameFlip Gigs. GameFlip Gigs is a website built to offer gamers a one-stop shop for all services related to games. GameFlip Gigs is the place to go to learn how to build faster in Fortnite, dominate with a custom-built Hearthstone deck, or find any gaming services related to League, including more efficient jungling pathing, personalized coaching, or even finding custom Twitch emotes, all backed by their 100% cashback guarantee, and all brought together on a single website. So they currently just left the beta. So I believe the bonus period is over for GameFlip Gig sellers. But you're still able to make a seller account if you'd like to, offer your services to the buyers. You can sign up as a buyer, and you could do it for free on their website. And you can market anything. If you're good at coaching macro micro league, if you're good at organizing tournaments, if you can do some art or literally anything, you can utilize this service. You can head over to gameflip.com/gigs, GAMEFLIP.com/GIGS in order to sign up and use this. Thank you to GameFlip for sponsoring us. Aiden.
Hello.
How was your week?
My week was good. I did almost nothing all week. And like I had like 2 or 3 I've had like 3 days. This is my 3rd day of like literally doing nothing, like no school, no work. And it's gotten to that point, the point where it's like the first day is like fucking great. The second day is like, okay, great. I feel reset. I feel refreshed. And then the third day is like, I want to do something. Mm-hmm. So I'm starting to like look into stuff to do over, because next week's pretty light as well. So I just played like a bunch of everything. I played a lot I'm trying to grind through all the Kingdom Hearts games before 3 comes out late January. So I'm trying to finish Kingdom Hearts 2 this week. I'm going to finish Birth by Sleep next month, and then I'm going to finish Dream Drop Distance before the game comes out in January. Mm-hmm. I've been spamming through Pokemon Go because I'm trying to get that out of the way before Smash comes out on the 7th.
Oh, the Let's Go Pikachu?
Eevee, yeah.
Oh, Eevee, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm having fun with that. It's fun. I think it's just a better game than the regular games, and I feel like Pokemon fans are mad about nothing. And that's about. I haven't really played much League, I guess, is the only thing, which is kind of funny because that's the one consistent thing I record every week is a League podcast. But it's preseason.
Sometimes you need lighter weeks. Yeah.
It's preseason, right? Like, it's hard to like be super engaged in the game when it's like, this is probably not what the game's going to be like when the actual season starts. So
yeah, and you're still waiting for to transfer your account back to NA, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you got some time.
Yeah, so that's my week.
Cool. Colton, how was your week?
Pretty good. Work and school as always. Getting like into the groove of things at work and figuring out how to do everything. So that's nice. Been getting ready for D&D, which is happening tonight as of recording. So I'm excited for that. A little bit nervous, but I think it'll hopefully go well. There's going to be a lot of us, so that might be a bit to keep track of. But we're just gonna work on it together and hope that it all turns out okay.
Yeah, you kind of fucked yourself a little bit. I was like,
see.
you're like, yeah, 8's a lot, and I'm like, so I looked it up. I was like looking into like posts about like,
Yeah.
hey, how many players should I have? And everyone's like, yeah, if you go like
5.
8 or more, then you're fucked.
Yeah, so I mean, like you can, and I'm gonna be like doing some things to keep it from getting crazy long in like the middle of fights. But like I intended to do 6, right? And then I wasn't sure if the 6 was gonna come, so I talked to Warren about it and was like, hey, if he doesn't, do you want to fill in? And he was like, yeah. And then he got it in his head like, no, I'm just joining regardless. And then the 6 was like, yeah, I'm gonna come. Also, I have a 7th, so now we're at 8. And I'm just like, you know what, it's fine. We'll make it work. If it gets bad and takes forever, I might do like a, party splits up and we have like 2 groups of 4 on like off weeks or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Kind of play it by ear.
It'll be funny.
Other than that, I've been playing a lot of For the King. I finally today got the Belly of the Whale thing in the Treasure Hunter, so I'm pretty happy about that. Only took like 5 full playthroughs of that mode.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Now you can show us how to get it.
Yeah.
You just have to
Lit.
happen across that dungeon.
Thanks, Colton.
It's great. But yeah, been doing that. Been playing a little bit of League. Again, yeah, not too much because it's like preseason, so haven't been on that ranked grind, and I've been doing other stuff. But aside from that, that's just about it. I finally finished Blend Essay, and I had like 2 episodes left that I just like sat on for a few months.
The skiing episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an ending.
It's an all right show.
It's an alright show. But yeah, that's most of my week, I think. We got a bunch of snow here, so that kind of sucked, but
Yeah, you guys were getting
yeah,
kind of a
foot
lot,
and half, I
right?
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But that was like one night, so I kind of cleared it off, and now things are good. But yeah, it's snow everywhere now. How about you, Nick? How was your week down in good old Florida with 0 snow?
Ooh, yeah, 0 snow. It got kind of cold, and by cold I mean like, I don't know, like probably maybe 40s at the lowest. So brr. But that's I guess that's the weather report. That's overcast. I didn't play a ton of League. However, I'm excited to play League because of the skins that have come out recently. I've only played with the Leona one so far, and I gotta say I am a little disappointed in the lunar one. It's a little lackluster, I think, compared to the solar eclipse. But excited to play some of the Coven skins, and yeah. As for everything else, I feel like I've had a really productive week of both work and school. I got a lot done, was on task for most of the week, not distracted. So it's good to have a long week over. I had 4 nights of classes after work, and I'm glad to have a night off. So yeah. I guess let's get into. We don't have any news, unless you guys want to talk about the LCS news here.
We could do it here if you want to like front. Yeah, so let's
Yeah,
just do it
sure.
'cause it's gonna be
Might
quick.
as well.
So like last week, Colton, you were gone before we started talking about the
I
roster.
left right
Yes.
before we did the LCS section.
So we went through a ton of like roster changes. Some of them like rumored or whatever, but so there's been a lot more since then. So I'm just gonna quickly run us through them. So we have Mata and Coach Fly to SKT, Crown and Meteos to Optic, Smoothie to TSM. Prey has announced that he turned down all the offers for his split. He's probably going to take it off. He said he's thinking about retiring, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Peanut to Gen G, Nemesis, who is not a Turkish player. He's like from one of the minor like EU leagues though. He's going to Fnatic as their new mid in place of Caps. Power of Evil to CLG, Haunter and Ole to Golden Guardians, Mike Young to Team Liquid Academy. Viper is now the starter for FlyQuest. KT roster is now BDD, Snowflower, Smeb, and Score. Who need a clutch, and Deft, Pawn, and Tucson are now all on King Zone. So those are the
Everyone's
changes.
roster just looks so stacked.
it's crazy, Nick, that we started with like the 100 Thieves and Team Liquid roster. We're like, holy shit, these rosters are insane. And then we had like that middle ground of like all right looking rosters, like the TSMs, CLGs, and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, the bottom half is going to be like Clutch, FlyQuest, Golden Guardians, and Optic. And they're actually picking up good players. Like the fact that like people will shit on Crown for being like washed up. He is washed up compared to how he was in 2016, but he was one of the best players in the fucking game in 2016. And I feel like he could still do work. And like the fact that a team like Optic, who we're looking at as like a 9th place team, is picking him up. Like,
yeah, sure. That's insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited though. I feel like it's cool that like everyone kind of counted out these like last couple of rosters, but they're still like making good lineups. Like Golden Guardians is a great example of that, where people are like, "Oh, they're fucked," but now they're potentially still getting Froggen. I think it's Froggen. So Froggen, Hanser, Ole. That's not a bad like core of your roster.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, so I think it's cool. I don't know if there's anything else really notable here. I guess. The KT roster is like looking really, really good, despite the fact that they lost all their core members that made them a super team. Like, I think it's great that, I mean, Smeb and Score are still there, I guess, but picking up BDD and Snowflower is a huge, it's probably still a step down from having Prey Gorilla bot lane. It was Prey Gorilla. Yeah, it was Prey Gorilla, right? Yeah. No, or was it? No, that was Wasn't
that Def Mata?
That was Def Mata. So, like, it's definitely a step down from Def Mata, but Snowflower is, like, one of the best up-and-coming supports for LCK, so... And BDD is one of the best mids. So.
Yeah, BDD's sick.
Yeah.
I don't know, so I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Would definitely recommend seeing some of, like, Thorin's videos on some of these roster swaps, because he, like, breaks down a lot of it. And I don't know, I think they're really interesting, and he's got, like, a lot of perspective of these players. So if you're looking for, like, an hour to kill, I think he's done 3 videos about, like, these roster announcements on certain topics. I think they're all great.
I think
it's pretty exciting.
I think it's really cool that Peanut, I'm not sure if you guys saw the article, but Peanut reportedly was offered the most a jungler's ever been offered for to play. I don't think he went with those teams. I think those were like NA and China offers maybe, but he's probably being paid upwards of like $1 million on Gen G now, which is pretty crazy.
TSM wanted a high tempo jungler. Offered him $1 million.
The only team that I think's fucked in NA is Echo Fox.
Yeah.
Because currently they have 0 players on their roster, I think. Well, Dardoch, assuming he resigns. He said he was going to, but I don't know, man.
I'm not going to hold that one against him if he decides to look elsewhere.
But every other team looks good, so it's kind of cool. Oh, yeah, and I guess the only thing that got confirmed from last week to this week was the G2 Perks thing, where G2 now has Caps playing mid, and then Perks playing AD carry for their team.
It'll be interesting.
I think that's really, really cool.
Super team?
Yes. We talked about that last week. SKT's team looks fantastic. I think it's all about how quickly and how well they gel with one another.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they have the potential to just smash everything, and I hope they do.
Yeah, I don't know how you get better than most of them at their position, I suppose.
Did you guys see LS's NA tier list that he posted, that he was doing on stream?
Yes, I saw that he did. I did not have a chance to look at it.
So first of all, there's a ton of drama around that because he did an EU one after where he's like, I don't really know about like EU players, so I don't think I'm going to do one. Then everyone's like, you should do one. So he's like, okay, I'll do my best, right?
And then everyone criticizes him.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I mean, that being said, he probably shouldn't have done it either way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he's a content creator, so I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
And also, I'm probably biased because I do watch his content a lot. But I thought his NA one was fine. I feel like he's still got like a ton of shit for it, and I feel like a lot of the comments were like weird shit that people were criticizing. Like they were mad that he put Xmithie like pretty low on the thing, but it was like based on mechanics. Like his justification was pretty well. Hey, Xmithie does well as like a core to a team. You know what I mean? It's not because Xmithie's like a fucking mechanical god.
Yeah, he's not hard carrying teams, but he is the rock that'll always give you a consistent performance. Yeah,
then like people were mad like that he had Bjergsen above Jensen and people like that, and it's like I don't know, man. I still think Bjergsen's the best mid in NA. And then people were mad that they put Doublelift and Sven on the same right below Bang. Yeah. And he's mad that he put an asterisk beside Piglet. The Piglet has the potential to be as good as Sven in Doublelift. Is like, I don't know, man. People think that fucking Doublelift's gonna like Doublelift is a better player than Bang, like based on what I've read.
Objectively not true. I'm biased as fuck because Bang's like my favorite 80 carry, but I don't think there's an 80 carry better in NA, and I don't think it's very close.
Yeah, and the only other thing I want to bring up that he did a like Western super team, and he did a Korean super team. But the Western super team, people are mad about that because for support he had, so it was like top. He had like Licorice, Whippo, or Wonder. I think were his top 3 picks. Jungle, it was like I can't remember what jungle was. Mid was Bjergsen or Caps, I think. 80 carry was Forgiven, or I don't remember the second one. Forgiven or someone though, right? It wasn't Doublelift though. Is what people are mad about. And then the support, he had Bjergsen or Caps as support.
Weird.
Which I kind of get the logic though, because there's, other than say Mithy in his prime, I don't know if there's been a support player from the West that you've been like, holy fuck, this player is like in Worlds contention.
Yeah.
But like you could say like people like Bjergsen have been Worlds contention for mid, right? Or Whippo's been Worlds contention for top. And I feel like that's a fine logic, like to say, hey, why don't we just put this World contender mid support? Because we don't have like Aframu is probably the best bet you got.
It's
right?
been a while since we've had one. I mean, like, so I think like the further you go back, when the East hadn't really gotten as good as they are, right? Like back then, you had World contenders supports, like. If you went back to like season 2, X Special's in the contention for best support in the world, but that changed, and since then, hard to think of a support that was like exceedingly dominant from the West and would be in like that contention for a world's best, or at least world's top 5.
I think that's so smart. Like you just take like one of the better mechanical players, lots of game knowledge, lots of map awareness, like in Bjergsen's case at least. Put him in support. Like, just do it. That's genius.
Just do it in 80 carry also. So we got Bjergsen mid, right? Caps 80 carry, Jensen support, Frog top. Just put mid laners that are all real good into every role.
Smart.
No, I agree that like sometimes you just got to take the best player and say, well, maybe they could just do this other role.
Speaking of LS Aiden, did you see that he started streaming under CLG?
Ooh, I think he live when he said 2 minutes. So I don't.
We said 4 seconds, so.
And he said 2 minutes.
Oh. I mean, it's only been 1 minute. I thought you meant it before the show started.
So no, I didn't hear anything about that. He's part of CLG brand now.
I don't know. It is unclear. I guess Aiden might know better than I would, so I'm hoping he gets back at the end of this sentence.
Ooh, not quite.
So
you want to jump into Bi-Weekly then?
Sure. I feel like this is.
First?
I feel like this is also an Aiden section. Like, well, yeah, we can talk about it. You and I, you get our opinions out first.
I'll be back eventually.
Sure,
we can
maybe
introduce the topic. Okay, so
my dad was supposed to be back eventually.
There was big discussion on Reddit, right? That's where this comes from. It's like there are people all up on Reddit, like witch hunt against Scorch, saying like Scorch is garbage, it's terrible, and like the sorcery tree is weak. That was like the general sentiment of the thread, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think some people did math and were like, yeah, not really, but that's kind of what our discussion is about, is like, how's Scorch, how is the sorcery tree, is it good, is it viable, especially now that you don't have to take it for like the flat, adaptive bonuses, like, is it still worth taking, or were people just taking it for the AP and AD that you got from it?
Ooh, before we do that, glad you're back, Aiden. Did you see LS is streaming under CLG now?
Is he actually?
That's what there's a post on the CLG subreddit that says that.
Oh.
Yeah. Strategy coach?
I mean, it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, like I really thought he wasn't gonna play for like do a coach for NA because I did watch most of that stream where he made the tier list for NA and stuff like that, and he was just shitting on NA orgs for like like he's just like they just don't look for players. Like all they do is name recognition, right? If you played an LCS within the last 3 years, you're a contender, but if not, then it doesn't matter, right? Like he showed an example of this one player he didn't show their ID, but they've been boot camping in Korea for the last like 6 months on their own dime, sort of thing, and they've been 500 points plus challenger for the past 6 months, right? Like only playing mid-fill, but he hasn't got any offers, right? Like,
I wonder if that's Keen.
I don't think so. It was like I think it was an unknown, like a new player.
Oh, okay.
Like he's like 17 or 18 or something like that. And it was just like that's kind of sad to see though that like people don't scout out players like that.
Well, they don't have the name recognition, right?
But like
No,
the problem
but
is that there
also-
should be talent scouts.
Yeah, there should
Sure,
be talent
yeah.
scouts, and like these players shouldn't have to then like try and come to your team because like that's a tough thing to do, and especially like, hey, hi, I am, this guy. I play, Challenger Korean solo queue. Hire me on your team, Mr. TSM. Like that's not how that should work. Like open tryouts is one thing, but it's just like there should be talent scouts out there, and I think that's kind of like the issue with not like everything that's not LCS is it's like in traditional sports there are so many like traditional scouting grounds, whereas in League it's a little bit tougher to like you can't like I'm just gonna attend like the NCAA tournament and be like that player was really good. There's not so much of that, I think.
Well, I think like boiling it down one step further, I don't think there's a database of players, right, who are a certain threshold. Like, this is a constantly updating player base of challenger players across every single region exceeding 500 points challenger. Or like top 50% challenger based on because maybe 500 points is impossible on certain servers. But like, why isn't there that? Why isn't, Riot charging teams, charge them money to be a part of this, I guess.
Yeah.
And that would make scouting so much easier.
I just think like teams honestly should get to the size where they can pay a person to literally just scout solo queue of different regions.
Well, they're paying Peanut $1 million, right?
Yeah, like
so take 10% of that, and that's a fucking sick paying job.
Literally pay someone like LS. Literally, like it doesn't have to be a lot because it's not like it's a full-time position, but just to be someone who like looks out for players for you. Like
honestly, like $50K, you can live in the team house.
Yeah.
Done. Done.
Yeah, right. Like, you have that scout, and it's just like it's simple, right? Like they're out scouting and all the time, and like especially these players that are boot camping and going hard in solo queue. It's just like pull them in for a online tryout. Give them a couple games, just try it out, right? There's so little like risk and cost associated with pulling solo queue talent and just giving it a shot, right? Like it's. Hey, I'm going to pull this guy that's never played in, like, LCS, LCK, anything before. Give him a couple tries, try out, like, easy. You want to know what's a lot harder? Trying to convince, like, Mata to join your team, and, hey, you have to probably give him a hefty paycheck, right? Like, and again, you might find that next solo queue star that's huge, so... I think, the scouting, and again, I guess I don't know these organizations, and I don't, like... know if they have someone doing that or if maybe they're just not very good at it or like I don't know any of that stuff, but it just doesn't seem like that's like a huge thing. So I think the rarity of like pulling out these solo queue talents, especially in like NA, it's like that's not super common, and I think that it's a little unlikely that it's because there's just nobody out there.
Well, honestly, okay, so maybe this is a symptom of a different problem, right? So there's currently a trend in the NFL where a lot of high like recognition name players, like the Bangs, like the Crowns, are starting to lose their value because a lot of the kind of culture is shifting towards discovering players who are serviceable for much less money. So, and I feel like that's a result of the NFL having a salary cap, but League doesn't have a salary cap. If you're Team Liquid, you basically have a blank check to get any player that you'd like, right? So, I mean, but what if there was a salary cap in League? So you are prompted to only spend so much money on players every year that if you want to sign a big name talent, you have to develop talent domestically to be able to afford that big name talent.
I think it sounds nice, but I think what it ultimately does is just lowers the upper cap. Because it's like, hey, if only 2 teams can afford to build super teams and turn them into amazing super teams, and they're the only 2 that are winning anything, that's probably because they're playing just so far beyond the level of everyone else. And I personally would rather see that than, oh, well, it's highly competitive, but if there wasn't these sanctions in place, if there wasn't these sanctions, I could just take 5 top players, put them on a mishmash super team, and they just crush everything that exists.
So, okay, I guess that's where I would differ. I would rather see more competitive, less super teams than we currently see. I feel like it's a lot less interesting to watch. I don't know, potentially upcoming SKT than it would be to watch a much closer match between, I don't know, maybe 2 huge name superstars on each team and 3 pretty average to above average players.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're different on that, but I think they're both viable. I personally like that there's not a salary cap and that these big orgs can make those huge teams, but
yeah, I mean, it certainly makes for a super interesting offseason. This has been the most excited I've been for LCS to start up in recent memory.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped.
Yeah, not even for my own team, for other teams. Hey,
you want to jump off that back to the Scorch discussion that we?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I can kind of head that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Aiden.
So I think the main problem is, looking at the sorcery tree as a whole, we can kind of all agree that the keystones are fairly balanced. Airy and Comet are both taken pretty evenly. Phase Rush is a little bit more niche, but it still has a purpose on a lot of characters, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into the first row, the Artifact row, you have Nullifying Orb, Mana Flow Band, and Nimbus Cloak, which I think is the most balanced row. I think there's times in which you want to take all those, sometimes even change them based on the enemies in the game.
Yeah, I think those are all pretty good.
Yeah, the middle row, we have Transcendence, Celerity, and Absolute Focus. I mean, Absolute Focus is probably the worst rune in all of Sorcery, but other than that, I think Celerity and Transcendence are pretty balanced. And then last you have the power row, which I think is the most problematic row. And there's been lots of discussion on Reddit, in our own Discord and stuff like that, about the strength of some of these runes. So you have Scorch, Water Walking, and Gathering Storm. I think those on average are weaker than the rest of the runes in the sorcery tree, but together I actually think they make a good balance between each other, because I do think that they all have trade-offs and all fit for different roles, I guess.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's one of those things where I feel like the sorcery tree keystones are actually pretty good. On average, Comet's gonna do among the higher, I guess, among the higher tiers of damage runes. It's gonna be up there. It's gonna be included with the Dark Harvests and things like that. So it's sort of there's 2 pretty strong options, right? Between, you said Artifact and what was the second one?
Excellence is the middle one.
So Artifact and Excellence. Those are both pretty strong.
Yeah.
But you don't have to pick from the third row if you take it as a secondary tree, except you have to pick the third row if you take it as your primary tree.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good way to kind of balance the strength of the keystones by forcing you to take maybe a suboptimal rune. I feel a little differently about Gathering Storm. I feel like Gathering Storm is pretty. I don't think it's OP. I don't think it's super good. I think it's serviceable.
I guess sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying fix to Gathering Storm.
Okay, I take it on AD carries when I play AD carries, just because I feel like you can't. AD carries are more late game centric anyway, so you're kind of already all inning on late game. Mm-hmm. So might as well like double down.
I think that there's a really easy way to fix Gathering Storm that would make it feel a lot better for players. And that would be instead of proccing at 10 minutes. Like, don't change the values. Just make it proc like every 4 minutes or every 5 minutes.
I feel like it becomes too strong then. Maybe, so... Okay, so what if it was the first 2 proc at 10 minutes, every proc after that is at 5 minutes?
That would be
So
fine,
first proc at 10 minutes and then 15, 20, 25, 30?
First proc 10 minutes, second proc 20 minutes, third proc 25, 30, 35. Because I feel like you shouldn't still be rewarded so frequently for taking a rune that is centered on late game.
I guess. I guess my problem with that is, like, in the current meta, late game is 20 minutes.
Yeah, so, like,
yeah, so you gotta... If you think the game's going to be over in 20 minutes, you take a different rune.
I guess.
So that's what I was...
think that make it, like, a decent... You go ahead.
That's what I was going to set up, I guess, is the main thing. So this argument started with the fact that people think Scorch is the worst rune in that tier, if not in the entire tree. Which I think, first of all, is a joke because Absolute Focus exists, which I think is awful. But comparing the three, you have Gathering Storm, which we can look at as a late game rune, which is weak currently because game time average on this patch is 26 minutes, I believe. Water Walking, which is extremely weak on anything except for, say, junglers or roaming mids, because really you're only taking that for the 25 movement speed because the damage on it is really, really sad. And then you have Scorch, which a lot of people look at as, hey, it's 10 damage, that's really, really bad. So Gathering Storm obviously is strong the longer the game time goes, so that's better at some metas, which we can look at. That's its own strength. Water Walking, I think it's like one of the best jungle runes in the game, but I think it really lacks on a lot of other characters, I guess. And then Scorch, I think Scorch is the one that a lot of like newer players undervalue. I don't think that's like being mean either, because look at it as it's 10 damage scaling, say, to 20 by the end of your laning phase. It scales to 30 by the end of the game, but 10 to 20 is like mainly time you're going to use it, right? 10 damage, 20 damage. So 15 damage average every hit throughout laning. On a 10-second cooldown, you can proc it easily like 20 to 30 times throughout lane. Like, easily, which is 300 damage throughout laning phase. Like, that's a lot of damage throughout a laning phase.
Yeah, I think the way I would, if I had troubles like understanding the balance of it, not to throw any shade or anything like that, but I feel like a really good way to look at it is to like use your ability, see how much damage it does, and then see how much Scorch does. Because chances are it's going to do between 5 and 10% bonus damage. And what if it were just like, hey, every 10 seconds your next ability does 5 or 10% more damage? That sounds OP.
Yeah.
But once you get into those numbers, like once you get into like, oh, my Q did 100 damage, why is Scorch doing 10? Like that did nothing. That's 10%. That's a lot.
It's more the fact that like you can proc it constantly. Like I feel like people don't realize that. Like 10 damage, yeah, if it was 10 damage and had a 30-second cooldown, it would be terrible. But the fact is you can proc 10 to 15 damage, 10 to 20 damage every 10 seconds throughout a 15-minute lane phase. Laning phase has got longer even with the new changes. So like, yeah, easily 15 minutes, right? Like that's right, huge.
Like, I think another way that you can look at that is like per wave, right? So a wave takes about like 30 seconds maybe to I
think 30 seconds.
Like I think that's a good number to look at, where you can probably proc Scorch twice per wave if you're, a champion that can actually get in range to hit your abilities, if not once a wave. But like, an additional 10 damage a wave or 25 damage a wave is like, that's big.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that doesn't feel great, but actually does a lot of work.
Yep. I would agree.
It's like changing the base health regen of a character, right? You change the base health regen of a character, you buff it by 2.5 per 5 seconds, right? Tiniest change. Over 10 minutes, that's 300 health.
Yeah.
That's a huge change to a character and how they lane. I guess like...
Yeah, and I think that's...
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, like, the main conversation I had with someone on our Discord was, and I feel like this was actually a really good argument by them, or by him. It was that Gathering Storm can be taken by 80 carries, mid laners that want to go for late game, top laners that want to stall out the game, not really junglers. Water Walking is taken by every single jungler, mid laners that want to roam, 80 carries a lot of the time just because the movement speed's really, really good, and supports when they want to roam. And they have Scorch taken by mids who don't take the other two. It was his logic, which I think is like a fine logic, but I don't think that like negates the strengths of it.
No, I don't think so either. I saw that the other argument that was like, oh, second wind completely counters it. You heal more than Scorch ever does.
That one tilts me a little bit.
Yeah, but you're reducing that second wind healing by the Scorch amount.
If you didn't take the Scorch, they would still heal. Like,
they'd be higher. They'd be higher HP.
It heals 30. Guess what? If you don't take Scorch, they heal 30. If you take Scorch, they heal 30 minus
20.
whatever those fucking Scorch damage.
Yeah.
That tilted me a little bit.
Yeah, no, that one is a little. I mean, I understand that point of view, but it still has an impact. To say it just completely counters it and doesn't do anything is I think an unfair argument.
Disingenuous, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's fine. I take it quite frequently on mid laners.
I think it got slightly worse on a lot of characters when they changed. It used to be 20 to 60 damage on a 30-second cooldown, I believe. Which, even though it's lower DPS in theory, it was better on a lot more characters because it's easier to proc it every 30 seconds or every 20 seconds than it is to proc every 10 seconds, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But still, I feel like it's very, very good. I still do think that, yeah, like roaming is really, really important in League of Legends, so water walking maybe should be prioritized over it. And maybe in metas where games are a 40-minute average instead of a 26-minute average, you maybe want to go Gathering Storm. But other than that, like it is a solid rune. Like 300 damage over landing phase is not to be like messed with, I think.
I think so too. I think there's too much priority on well, let me rephrase it. I think when you're contrasting it to some of maybe keystones or runes like Presence of Mind or Triumph, where you can see like, holy shit, Triumph has healed me for 1,500 this game and given me, 500 gold. Or Presence of Mind has refunded 5 minutes of my ultimate and 5,000 mana. I think like comparing it to that is a little I can see why people would think it's bad, but it has a purpose. And that purpose is maybe not being utilized properly when you take it.
What if you compared it to the bottom 3 runes of each tree? Like Inspiration, the worst 3 would be probably Time Warp Tonic, Futures Market, and Approach Velocity, probably, I guess. But I feel like it's on par with those, honestly. I feel like it can do just as much. If you compare it to Resolve, the weakest 3, I think Resolve is the most overpowered tree also.
It's very strong.
Are probably Font of Life, maybe Second Wind, honestly, and then Conditioning, I guess. I feel like it's probably better than Conditioning, but probably not better than Font of Life or Second Wind.
Well, I think Conditioning's good on like 3 characters.
Conditioning's
like
worse around the tree by like a lot.
Yeah, but I think like when you're playing Rammus, Sejuani, Trundle, maybe. Because it increases your armor and magic resist by 10%, right?
That's true, yeah.
Then it's like, oh, we already have 300 armor. Here's an extra 30.
Domination is a very strong tree as well. Like Taste of Blood and Cheap Shot are probably the weakest two, but Cheap Shot's still fine. Taste of Blood is still fine. And then the rest are like Vision ones or Stacking ones, which are all like really, really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then Precision, which is our last tree. The weakest is probably the Cut Down or Last Stand, I guess.
I think Coup de Grace, honestly, too.
You think Coup de Grace is pretty weak? I think Coup de Grace is really good.
I mean, I think it's good, don't get me wrong, but I think of that tree, I think that, well, maybe Overheal.
That tree's strong. Yeah, I guess if you want to look at it that way, Sorcery is kind of weak, I guess, right? The weakest runes are weaker than the weakest of other trees, but still viable.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, there's always going to be a weaker tree, but I don't think that weakness lies within Scorch.
I agree.
Cool.
Kind of killed that topic, so.
Yeah. Then maybe we'll get some different. I mean, it's easy to kill a topic when it's basically an echo chamber and we all feel the same way. Maybe someone will shed some light on an opinion that we didn't see.
No, if I didn't see it, then the opinion's wrong.
Send us an email.
Yeah, send us an email. On to other interesting keystone/rune topics. Let's talk about grasp 80 carries. What does this even mean?
80 carries that take grasp of the Undying.
See you next week, boys.
Yeah, good shot.
Why is that good, Nick?
It's good because of the rune changes that recently happened, where you're allowed to take the resolve tree without, or I guess while taking separate bonuses. So you still get the attack speed bonus, you still get the AD bonus, you still get the extra health actually as well, which is pretty cool. And a lot of the what are those called? The secondary runes. Do they have a name, or is it just secondary runes?
I think it's just runes. Yeah.
Just runes, yeah.
Well, the other runes in that tree are actually really strong. So I've been playing it with. I've played I think 3 games as Grasp Caitlyn and a game as Grasp Varus. Definitely feels way better on Caitlyn, but I think that's to be expected at this point. You take Grasp. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say it's also important to note the change to Grasp itself. Trying to find it. Where is it? The change. I can't see the change exactly, but it's the one where now it's not. It doesn't just give you a percentage maximum health stack. It's just
You're thinking of a different one. You're
Yes.
thinking of the further down rune.
oh, am I?
Yeah,
I don't think I am.
I can't remember what it's called, but
Are you
it's
sure
the one
not
where
Grasp?
Grasp still gives Grasp.
Is it a percent?
No, Grasp gives you
Oh,
a
I was
flat
thinking overgrowth. No. It's
Yes.
not was it overgrowth?
Yeah, it's
You're thinking
overgrowth.
of overgrowth. Grasp still
Okay.
gives you a flat number,
Oh, you're right. Okay.
but that
It deals
combined with
percentage
overgrowth
damage.
is
Yeah.
Yeah, you can now take overgrowth, and that's okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, overgrowth is better, which kind of pushes the resolve tree to the top of Squishy Champ's I guess priority list. So you take Grasp, and then you take Overgrowth, and that's kind of the 2 mandatory. It kind of gets a little
Bone plating.
preferential there. Yeah, you could go bone plating. I really
think bone
like
plating demolish is kind of
bone plating demolish. That's what I usually run. I am kind of in love with the new demolish. It does less damage, but you only have to stand next to the turret for 3 seconds instead of 4, and it basically guarantees you a tower plating every time you're able to proc it. So yep, you take it. Secondary, I believe it's your preference of any of the trees now that there's no
Secondary stats sort of thing.
secondary stats. Yeah, thank you. I believe I've been taking Mana Flow, Gathering Storm.
I think
Or-
that's kind of like one of the best options. Or you could kind of double down and go like Taste of Blood, if you really want, like even if you need more sustain still.
Yeah, but you're so I that's another thing. I at least haven't been playing Grasp Caitlyn for the sustain, and more for the harass and the added benefit of the extra health. Because you can proc it, 30 times in laning phase pretty easily as Caitlyn specifically. Every time it's doing, I don't know, 10 damage minimum, giving you, I believe, 2.5 health each time. I think it's halved for ranged characters. So you end up with, not what is that? 90 health if you proc it 30 times?
Something like that. Yeah.
No, so like 75-ish, I think.
Yeah, but still, it's
Yeah,
not
but
bad.
still good.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, which is a couple ticks of Ignite or, the
That's-
like.
That's really cool though, being able to go whatever secondary tree you want. Like you could even go perfect timing biscuit, like if you're in a rough lane. Like
Yeah.
biscuit for sustain, then perfect timing was pretty well. Like being able to take perfect timing is literally a get out of jail free card. Like one fight past 10 minutes. Like
Yeah, for sure. And if you plan on building,
GA.
GA, it reduces the cost of that by a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm actually I enjoy these rune changes a lot. For the stats you take, I've been taking the attack speed in the first row, adaptive force second row, and the bonus health in the third row. I feel like bonus health in the third row, I've been taking on every single champion every game.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems way too strong.
What a good change to that rune, though. Like, before
Yeah,
it was literally,
for
unless
sure.
you're a tank, you can't take it.
For sure, yeah. I'm
Even as a
enjoying
tank,
it a
wasn't
lot.
Very good.
Overgrowth, no. It was good for, like, maybe split pushers who are going to be farming, 400 minions a game.
I
but-
think the only ones that could really take it were like split pushers that were gonna have a ton of health anyway, like Cho'Gath and Scion were like the only characters I ever took it on.
Yeah, maybe Nasus, but
Maybe, yeah.
the list starts to thin very quickly from there. But yeah, it's really cool. It's really fun.
Other than Caitlyn, are there other people that you think would be very strong with this? Like,
So
I mean, like I think it can work on an AD carry, but I think Caitlyn's definitely one of the ones that uses it best.
yeah, so I think one of the reasons I specifically think it's Caitlyn's best option is because she doesn't necessarily benefit from other runes. She's not going to attack the same target long enough to proc press the attack. She doesn't really benefit from the attack speed compared to other AD carries. She can use Fleet, but it's kind of too passive of a rune in lane when you need something more aggressive. And then Conqueror. You could go Conqueror, Caitlyn. That sounds not the worst. But I think
Honestly,
Grass was just better.
Any AD carry with, like, good range. Like, even, like, if you played Jinx and then you farmed whenever you got your 4 stacks for Grasp, you just, like, switch to Rockets and hit someone from, like, whatever range is it, like 700 or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a bad idea. Like,
Yeah, you proc it, get a little bit of extra health, extra harass. I don't think maybe Draven would be good. He seems to trade a lot, always be in combat. But then you have to give up Conqueror, which is just like too good on him,
I don't know. I think that actually might be really good because then you'd have like a lot of health as well. I think that might be pretty decent on Draven. I think that it's got to be like heavily trading AD carries probably.
Yeah, people who are going to proc it a lot. And I think that's one of the benefits of, like, it's another benefit of it going on Caitlyn is it's really easy to walk up and auto from, 500, 600 range away.
Yeah, I think it could be good on Lucian too. Now that I'm thinking about it, just because like you're already gonna go Black Cleaver, so it's just gonna stack with that health really well, and you'll be beefier than any AD carry ever.
Yeah, but then you're losing out again on Press the
Like
Attack,
Press the
one of the
Attack or
better
Conqueror.
Press the Attack users, and
For sure.
Conqueror. But
It's a tough choice, but I think it definitely has situations where it can be very good on more than just Caitlyn.
yeah, for sure. That's why it's 80 carries and not just Caitlyn. So, hey, send us your favorite Grasp 80 carry.
hell yeah.
Give it a shot. Let's get
Roundtable.
into the round table.
So last week's question was, what's your current favorite duo bot lane to play? A lot of people answered. From our Facebook, Dylan said Blitz and Thresh, ADC, Thresh being an AD carry, equals Hook City. Joe said Jinx Lux, oh my god, one good stun, they just fall apart. Ben said, back when I last played more than 2 games a month, Sivir or Caitlyn plus Morgana was amazing. Double spell shield and Morgana ult empowering Sivir ult, and a snare into trap combos with Caitlyn. It was lots of fun. Yeah, Morgana with like anyone's pretty good. It's just like infinite CC.
Yeah.
Bonnie said Yasuo Soraka. Me and my duo have like an 85% win rate with it. Yeah, Soraka. I feel like Yasuo really needs like those sustained supports with them though. As much as you want to play like engaged support, I think sustained ones are just better. Joshua said Rengar plus Ivern and bot equals bush mechanic or hashtag bush mechanics. I've never played that lane, but it's always looked fun.
That sounds very... Ivern not very good in lane. Hot take.
But he has a bush that he can put places.
Whoa.
I don't think Ivern
So do
would be
I.
terrible in lane. He's got the shield and a snare. Like, I don't think he'd be bad in lane. He just doesn't really get to auto much.
No, it's just... It's hard to play him in lane. It's harder to play him in lane than in the jungle.
I think the best Ivern bot lane though is honestly Ivern Mord, to be honest. Like it's
Get him
it's
in
the
there with
only-
that Q.
Yeah, it's kind of like not actually that bad. From our Discord, Unripe Banana said Misfortune plus Scion, double up the minion that Scion pushes. The minion still has damage from Scion shove if it dies to the double up. Plus Scion support is OP. Deluxe 80 said Asol plus Zillion, played it with a friend, had so much fun. All you need is for Asol to hit his stun, and then they're basically dead with permanent CC. Zillion follow up with double bomb plus extended range with Asol orbs. Yeah, they just sit in place while you just hit the Asol orbs, and then Asol can just dash away if you're ganked. and Zillion can use his E. That's kind of nice. Dragon said, my favorite bot lane right now is Fiddle plus Amumu. Here's the kicker. You have to play Surprise Party Fiddle and Surprise Party Amumu. You just wombo them, wombo your ult spamming Happy Birthday in all chat. In the lane, Fiddle just pokes and Amumu can do some cheeky damage if he fights in mini wave with Tantrum. That actually doesn't sound that bad, to be honest.
That sounds real cheap. I don't know how you're supposed to get through laning phases but...
You wait till you're 6 and then you kill them.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
sure, like, yeah, if Amumu goes Relic Shield, then Fiddles probably goes like a Doran's Ring, I guess.
Yeah, just try to push the
Interesting
wave.
with W, and you try and shove it up. I don't know. I think it could also be really good if you have like a heavy AD team. Just pull out that double AP bot.
Yeah, for sure.
This week's roundtable question is: what genre of game should Riot make with the League of Legends IP? Like, what genre though?
MOBA.
Shut up.
League 2, baby.
So hear me out on mine. What if they made a battle royale? But like, have you seen Battle Right Royale? At all? So Battle Right, I guess it's more like of an arena, but it's kind of like it's like a MOBA arena, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you have characters with 3 or 4 abilities, and then it's like a 3v3 or a 2v2 setting in arena. So they made a battle royale game where you can like play all the characters and you're in a huge fucking map, right? And it's not bad. Like, I haven't played it myself, but I've like watched a lot of people play it, and it actually looks like it's well made. Like, you can revive your teammates, you find spells on the map, and you can like level them up by finding like more of like R spells or like W spells or whatever. And I feel like for League, that would be really cool if it was limited to like 5v5. So meaning you had to draft a team comp, and then it's like 100 players, but 20 teams of 5, where it's like a League of Legends team, like top, jungle, mid, AD carry, support.
That'd be pretty cool.
I feel like it can actually work, honestly, and I feel like it'd be a lot of fun. You get your squad together, you roll up, you're only like a 3-man, but they're 5-man at the end.
Interesting.
League of Legends should make a tower defense game, but it's already a tower defense game.
Nice.
That's tough. Like, I think it'd be cool if they made like an RPG, but then it'd be tough because like, what character do you do? And if anything, like, I guess if we probably have to do it is like pick a non-champion to be the like protagonist of the RPG, and you just get to like explore the world of Runeterra.
Helmet
which
Bro?
I think would be really cool.
Helmet
Yeah,
Bro?
dude. Can we get a Helmet Bro RPG? And you just walk through Bilgewater, and there's like all this shit happening around you, but you're like, all right, okay, these people are way stronger than me. Like a really self-aware Helmet Bro that's just like sarcastic and understands, and like there's a narrator and shit making fun of it too. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if Riot wanted to use the characters from League, they should just make an MMORPG and just include the characters as characters of the universe, but you play as like Colton was saying, you play as a non-League of Legends champion, but you side with a faction, you play through, storylines, develop the lore a little bit. But I feel like that's too common. I want them to make a fighting game. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Fighting game could be pretty cool.
Maybe like a 2D fighting game using the League characters made by Arxis. Arxis should only make fighting games ever. No, I think it would be cool.
That could be really cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, Aiden, what should they do if they want to tell us what kind of genre they would like to see?
They can hit us up on our Facebook page at LeagueCast, send us an email at leaguecastpodcast.com, or comment to our Discord and post in our roundtable section.
Lit.
Cheese pick. Everyone's favorite section in the whole wide world, because it's the highest quality, highest effort content ever.
I think this is actually really good. Maybe not the part of the map that it's in, but I think it's really good.
So yeah, the cheese pick this week is going to be Kleptolution, and I'm saying Kleptolution top. You can definitely do it, AD carry, but I want to put it top because especially if you're against like a melee, you're just going to get 1 billion gold from it. you're not, going to get the same damage as going like a Press the Attack or a Conqueror, but you're going to make up with that with all of your fat stacks you're holding on to. And it works because Klepto's now the next 2 autos, and guess what? He gets 2 autos after he E's in or Q's in.
Hell yeah.
He just gets that money. I think, again, that's pretty strong. You can still go that like nice Blade of the Ruin King Black Cleaver build to deal with, probably a tank in the top lane that you're facing, even if it is a damaged champion, right? You're going to get that sustain with the Bork. You're going to get some health on the Black Cleaver to keep you alive. It's funny because I was looking at it, and there are actually a couple pros playing this, like solo queue. Not a lot. Like I looked through op.gg and I saw like 3 instances of Klepto Lucian top, as opposed to like 100 instances of Press the Attack regular Lucian bottom.
Well, sure, but it just starts with one guy.
Yeah, but it just starts with one guy. So I think this can be a lot of fun. I'm definitely gonna try it. We're going to pair it with halloumi cheese, which I finally tried after all this time. There was some at a restaurant we went to. We went to Nando's when we were down in Chicago.
Cheeky Nando's?
Nothing. Yes. And it was so good. So halloumi this week. Fucking great cheese.
Nice.
So what if I had a cheese pick?
Then you'd add it right now.
You want to pitch us a cheese pick?
What if I just want to say it right now?
Ooh, what if it's Shark Tank and I have to choose between one of you guys' cheese pick?
Okay, now hear me out. So,
Okay.
Dark Harvest. It's already better than Kleptolution, okay?
Okay.
On Bard, okay?
Dark Harvest, okay.
So it's just good.
Because it procs off his ultimate?
That's part of it.
Did I ruin the whole bit for you?
No. The whole bit is that it's actually just strong as fuck, because a lot of people used to electrocute on Bard, right?
Yeah.
Or electrocute and combat, right? So it's already just fucked, because like it's gonna be OP that it's gonna proc off your Qs and your autos and stuff like late game. But then like it's like a mini game late game where you can go for kills with your ult late game,
because
right?
it procs the Dark Harvest.
Yeah. So it's like not only is it actually probably the best keystone on Bard just because it's OP, but it's also fun because there's a mini game.
That sounds really fun. I can't decide. I like both of them.
I should have told you to save that for next week, so I didn't have to pick one.
Yeah.
Do my work for me.
When they nerf Dark Harvest by next week, then we won't be able to do it, though.
True.
True.
Did you also know that his ulti applies sorcery elixir?
Oh.
Yeah, and I believe that is the only way to get a pentakill, or that was the only way to get a pentakill as Bard. With his ultimate, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Lit. We already did LCS earlier, so all that's left is mail fight. First emails from Kerblunk. Hey team, thanks for the content you put together every week. Really do appreciate it. A friend and I have been playing Shen Pike bot lane and have an 80% win rate over 10 games. You get bullied early, but once you hit level 3 to 6, you can dominate the lane if anyone hits their CC. Pretty fun and nice. It also helped to have strong laners in other lanes to carry our asses. Thanks again, Kerblunk. That sounds pretty alright.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kerblunk.
Next email is from Brian. It says, do you guys think that franchising has affected the quality of competition in the LCS level? During the last World, Cloud9 used their development teams really well. How do you see the development of an increasing structure to the league esports scene affecting the level of competition?
So I feel like it has, maybe this was a result of franchising, I can't remember, but didn't Riot force every LCS team to have an academy team?
Yeah. You have to have a 10-man roster between 5 in academy, 5 in LCS.
And was that a result of the franchising, or was that separate?
Every
then
franchise team has to have an
absolutely.
academy, yeah.
Then absolutely. I thought for some reason those were separate, like academy teams existed before franchising, but maybe they were just implemented at different times.
I mean, I think there was a lot of people who had them, but it just wasn't like a requirement, and maybe some didn't take them seriously. I think that having a good academy team is super good. I think franchising allows teams to take those risks on, non-established names and try rebuilding real big without having to worry about relegation if their restructure doesn't work well. I think it overall definitely increases the level of competition.
For sure. Thanks, Brian. Last emails from Pards Bay, and he said, "Hello, podcast land. A few things. If Riot said they will not be changing things for the sake of change, can someone explain the PBE Orin changes? I'm trying to learn top lane. I enjoy playing the beefy boys like Ornn and Shen. I'm looking to add 2 more tanks and perhaps 1 fighter type to my pool. Do y'all have suggestions? With Marvel helping a brother out with Riot Games, should we anticipate a Marvel-themed skin or champion in League? What skin would you want to see? Anyway, thanks for the quality content and enjoy. Pards from the one and only land of the free, home of the brave, back to back world war champs, USA, USA, USA."
Yikes.
Back to back World War champ.
What are the Orin changes on the PBE?
It's the changes where they're first of all making all of his upgrades free for players. And there's one other thing. I'm not sure if they're buffed or either way, they're all free now, and they auto upgrade. I think after they you get to choose who gets their item upgraded. So at like level 13, you get to choose one player. Level 14, you get to choose one player. At level 15, you get to choose one player, and level 16, you get to choose your last player on your team who gets that.
Oh, I like that.
I think
I
that's
like
how
that
it goes.
though.
I'm not sure if
You're
they
like,
changed it.
I'm gonna make an item for this AD carry because I like him.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of like it because it's similar to a character in Dota. I'll be honest.
Shut up.
So, well, okay. The character in Dota, Ags, is an item that upgrades certain characters' ultimates.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hey, this is my Ags ability does like 100 damage when I have my my normal ult does 100 damage. When I have my Ags, it does like 200 in the cooldown's 12 seconds instead of a minute. So it's OP. Mm-hmm. But this character's ultimate, he just gives it to another character. Like he buys one and then gives it to another character. It's really cool.
So I'm looking at the changes, by the way, Nick. So like the main, so it starts at level 11, so 11 to 15, it does that, which I think is really, really cool. And then they're doing some other, like I'm assuming that was the main change that you probably mentioned because it's who really cares about buffs and nerfs. But one nerf that they're doing to him that I really like though is his W. So they're removing the shield on his W, but they're making him unstoppable again for it. Like remember when he came out, he's unstoppable. I think that's a really good trade off because I think the shield's cancer to like play against.
Oh yeah, shield's terrible. It's
he just outtrades you, no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have him be unstoppable than have that shield, so I'm totally down with that.
But I kind of like him having a shield. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they should just move it to somewhere else on his kit. Like if he procs the brittle, he gets a shield.
I'd be fine with that.
Because
like
that's kind of
much smaller shield for proccing brittle.
What if you hit
but
QE knock up?
Oh, if you broke your Q, you got a shield?
Like yeah, your QE, like hit that, like or something.
I think if you knock someone up with your E is how you would do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like using it as a trading tool that was kind of like rough.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I kind of thought like brittle because generally he's proccing brittle at the end of his trade passive or trade pattern. So it'd be like outgoing minion damage or something like that, as opposed to his current shield, which is pretty cancer.
It's awful.
I feel like he will get his shield back, and it'll probably end up on knocking up a champion.
I think the passive change is great though, like getting the items and stuff. I feel like
I
really
think so too. So too.
I know it sounds like he's upset by it, saying changing things for the sake of change, but I feel like that's an overall like good change. Like it makes the items good.
Well, I feel like Riot is
It lets people get them before they're at 6 items because games don't go to 6 items.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's using this as an example, less of being upset with the orange changes and more of like Riot claiming that they're not changing things just to change them and then changing them. But when's the last time we saw an Ornn?
I mean, I think he's still overpowered, but
I don't think he's OP. I think he's fine, but
his ult's fucked.
Yeah.
I think his Q and his E are pretty bad.
Yeah, let's see. Let's suggest 2 tanks and a fighter. Tank number 1, Maokai. I love Maokai.
Tank number 1 and 2, Maokai.
Fighter, Maokai.
Maokai, Scion, and Shogat are probably the ones.
Ooh, I forgot about Scion, yeah.
They're all real beefy boys with some good CC. Not terribly difficult to learn how to play, but some fun things you can do if you learn them well. And then maybe a fighter. I mean, I think Jax is a good fighter to learn top. I think he's pretty fun.
Yeah, I think fighters, Garen would be fine. Renekton, Darius, Jax. Yeah, I think those are all good suggestions. And then what Marvel-themed skin or champion in League would you like to see?
So I think, real quick, should we anticipate a Marvel-themed skin or champion in League? No, I don't think we should. And
No.
I don't think we will. Because that opens up kind of like a wormhole or a can of worms. That's the one I'm looking for. That I don't think Riot
Kind of
wants to
wormholes.
do. Yeah, can of wormholes. Let me just make that a custom item for our D&D campaign real quick. But no, I don't think they're gonna be Marvel themed skins or champions. If they do open up like a skin line for it, then they'll probably have to or want to start doing it for a lot of other things. And that would, I think, devalue what they want to do with skins. Like, I don't think they want to do skins that reference other works of media, even though I think they'd be really cool. It doesn't seem like that's the path they're going. That being said, if they did choose to do it, what skin would I want to see? Can we get like a Hulk Mundo? Like, they already have a green Mundo. Just make it the Hulk. Easy.
I don't know. This one's tough because I'm not super familiar with Marvel characters. But maybe
Iron Man Tom Kench.
What?
Iron Man Tom Kench.
Okay, Aiden.
Okay, I guess.
Aiden knows what he wants,
Wait,
right?
wait. Is Tom Kench Tony Stark or is he the suit?
No, he's Tony Stark.
Can we get like a Thor Jace where he's just like lightning everywhere? And he's just a big burly fucking Chris Hemsworth.
Wait, so he's Tony Stark without the suit? You just want Robert Downey Jr. but fat and licking stuff.
But like when he uses his E, his suit comes on him for like 3 seconds.
See, I was thinking when you said Iron Man, I was like, oh, okay. The champion, the person he eats is Tony Stark, and he's the suit.
No.
You just play as the suit, and occasionally Tony Stark gets inside you.
Either way, it's ridiculous, but do it.
Is Spider-Man Marvel?
Yeah.
Ooh, what about like a Sandman Zack skin? Or like a
Yeah,
Carnage
yeah.
Zack skin?
Yikes.
What do you
I can see
mean?
that.
That's better than fucking Iron Man.
Way
Tom
better than yours, isn't it,
Kench.
Aiden?
Disagree. Disagree. If you want to vote on what skin you think is the best out of those three.
Hey, that's the end of the show. Thanks, Pards Bay, for your email.
Wait. Captain America Poppy.
That's a good one.
She already throws the shield. Be great.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, thanks to GameFlip for sponsoring us once again. Head on over to gameflip.com/gigs to check out their product. Follow us on Twitter at LeagueCast Facebook is LeagueCast Podcast. TeamSpeak is ts.leaguecastpodcast.com. You can talk to us on there. Mail at leaguecastpodcast.com is where you can send emails. Our Discord, you can ask one of us for it on game or via email. Twitch.tv/bluebasket and /kinglardout are where we stream. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/leaguecast. Thank you guys for listening to episode 355, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.